Hi, and welcome to our Google Hangout about Google Docs. This is a first run for us, so thank you for those who are here. Actually, I can see that we don't have any viewers yet, but hopefully people will join us. So I'd like to welcome Susan Campo, who is going to be helping me out, and she's going to be giving classroom examples. Susan is in the classroom right now. I'm a secondary ITRT. Susan just dropped out for a second. I think she had to go answer the phone. For those of you who are joining us through the event page, you can go to the Q&A app, which is should be located on the right-hand side of your screen. And I guess I'll come to that when we actually have some viewers. So just going to wait a little bit, and we'll have...
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So that's Susan Campo.
At the moment when the broadcast starts, my phone rings.
Okay, we have some viewers now, so that's great. Hey, welcome. This is, as I said, this is a Google Hangout to talk about Google Docs and specifically how you can use Google Docs in the Peel District School Board. It's one of the new things that's available to Peel teachers. Susan Campo, as I said, is a teacher in Peel right now, and she is currently using Google with her class. I am a secondary ITRT, that's instructional technology resource teacher, and so I know how to use Google, but I don't have any specific classroom examples for myself, so I'm really happy that Susan is here to give that perspective from the classroom. So thank you, Susan.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Just for those of you who are joining us through the Google event page, through the Hangout, there should be a live Q&A app that you can ask some questions. We already have one question. Feel free to add your questions, and we'll also be trying to answer your questions on Twitter. Well, I'll answer them live here. So if you post your question to hashtag Peel21st on Twitter, I'm going to try and look there as well to see any questions that you may have. So anyway, we're going to get started with Google Docs. Jay and Amit did a great job talking about Google Drive, which is the platform that we're going to start from in order to create our docs. And just in case any of you didn't get a chance to watch that session, it is available on YouTube. But for right now, I'm just going to go back to just getting started. And so one of the things that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to log into your Peel Google account in order to create your documents in your Peel Google Drive. So to do that, to me, the fastest way to do it is to go to drive.google.com. You'll be asked to enter your email. So your email as a teacher would be your P number at pdsb.net. You may or may not be asked for a password. If you're on a school computer, you won't be asked for the password. If you, it'll just take you directly in. If you're on your own personal computer or you're at home, it will ask you to re-authenticate. It usually sends you to the BYOD page, and you just log in with your regular BYOD email password. So hopefully you're able to get into Google Drive. And once you're in Google Drive, which Jay and Amit have already gone over, you'll be able to create Google Docs. So it's pretty simple to create a Google Doc. All you do is you go to this little new button, and one of the options is a Google Doc. So I'm going to create a Google Doc. Right now, I'm in a folder that's shared with people. So it's just telling me that those people who I shared the folder with will also get to see this doc and have the same permissions, that's fine with me. So right now it's opening it up, and just to make sure everybody's aware, this is cloud-based storage. So this file actually exists on Google's site. So I'm not actually going to be saving it. It saves as I type. One of the things I want to do is, right now it's an untitled document, so I'm going to give it a title. So I'm going to call it Hangout About Docs. So now I have a title. All I did was I clicked on the top here to give it a new title, and you can see that it's saying all changes saved in Drive, which is a nice feature that I don't have to continually save anything. It's going to do that for me. So I've got my doc. It's saving as I go, as just like a regular Word doc. I've got all kinds of little features here to change my font and the font size and bold and all those kind of things. It's got your typical file and edit and view kinds of things that that you can go through. So it's pretty similar to using Word. And one of the nice things I will mention, if you really do want to download and save a copy, you can go to Download As, and it does give you the option of downloading your work as a Microsoft document or any of these other types, including PDF. So it does give you the option to download if you really wish to. Otherwise, it's saved on the internet, and you can access it from any internet-enabled computer, including mobile devices. So it's really nice that it's there and you can access it from any computer. So as I go, I'm going to be typing different things. So oops. Sorry about the spelling. So one of the things that's happening is it's saving right now, and then it says all changes are saved in Drive. What I can then do is there's two ways I can actually see, let's say I make a mistake and I want to go back. I can actually just click on it, and you can see who did what and when. So I'm the only person here who's done anything, but it's highlighting exactly what was done. I can go back to this old copy, and I can restore this version. And didn't really do much. Oh, there it goes.
Give
so this is,
chance.
Yeah, sorry. Expecting instantaneous. So what it did was it went back to my original version, which didn't have anything. That can be problematic, but that's okay. Let's say, oops, I made a mistake. I can just go back, and I can go back to the version that had that. And again, I can restore this version. So nothing is truly lost. This is a great feature if you are having several students working on the same doc, or if there's several teachers working on the same thing. It's fantastic that you can go back and you can get those original versions. And so one of the other great features about Google Docs,
So just as a personal experience, in the classroom, you really need to teach this kind of citizenship. Students tend to, the first time they get into a Google Doc and everyone's typing at once, they tend to enjoy getting rid of other people's work or saying inappropriate things sometimes. It's definitely, it's a learning experience, and don't expect your first time to be extremely productive, but you, just like any other activity in your classroom, you're going to be teaching them appropriate behavior and respect. And eventually they get over the novelty of it, and it's very natural afterwards, and nobody fools around with anybody else's work.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Susan. If you don't mind, we're going to show one of the great features of Google Docs, and that's that it's a collaborative document. So I'm hoping that Susan can maybe jump into my document that I've created, since it's in a shared folder with her.
Okay.
And if she's not able to, one of the things, no problem. So one of the things I can do in Google Docs is I can share it with people. So I'm just going to click on share here. And so I can actually start to enter her name. Now, the way the naming convention is in Peel, I could start typing in Susan Campo, but what's going to happen is nobody shows up because I guess there's no student in Peel named Susan Campo. But there is a Miss Space Campo in our board. There's also Campos. So I would share it with her. And that's all teachers are known as Miss.Space in their last name or Mr.Space in their last name. Now, sometimes that changes if they've changed their name within the Google environment. So if you are in doubt at all, if you can get their P number, you can type that in as well, and that will find that person, and you can share it with them. So
and
one of the things...
Students come up as both their full name and their student number.
Yes, thank you. So what I can do is I get the choice of how I want to share this Google Doc with Susan. So I can have Susan have full editing privileges, so she can type anywhere on the document, has the same control I do. I can choose that she can only comment on the document, which I'll talk about in a minute, or she can view the document, and that's simply, she can see it, she can read it, but she can't make any changes, she can't make any comments to the document. And there's different reasons why you would want that for different situations in your classroom. I'm going to give Susan editing privileges, and I'm going to send that to her. So she's going to get an email in her Google environment that tells her that I've shared this document with her, and she can jump into the document, hopefully sometime soon, and she will be able to edit the document at the same time I am editing. So what that allows to happen is you can have live real time, there she is, she's editing the document, and I can see that it's her because it comes up with her name. So we can both be typing at the exact same time. So I am typing, hopefully while Susan types. Oh, she's added a picture. So it's great because this is all happening live in real time, and your students can all contribute at the same time to the same document. And you can share this with other teachers as well. You can share it between classes. It can be, it doesn't even have to be your students that you're teaching in your class. It can be for groups and clubs that you have as well. One of the other features that's on Google Docs is that you can make the comments, as I said. So I could have shared this with her where she could only make comments, and that's using this tool here. So you can highlight different things, and this. I can make this comment, and it will appear. It'll always be highlighted, and it will appear when somebody clicks on that. It'll show that that's what I'm referring to. So those are kind of the basic features of Google Docs. I know if I don't do this part, actually, yeah, let's do Docs. Jay would be very upset if I didn't show that you can change the font. Well, this isn't his favorite font, but that's okay. It's the one I had available. There we go. You can change the font, of course, just like a regular Word document. But there are other tools that are in Google that a lot of people don't know are there because they assume that it's just like Word. So one of the things that you can do is you can use some of the tools. One of the great tools, this is if you're using a laptop or a desktop computer, you can actually turn your traditionally desktop computer into having the same functionality or similar functionality to what you get on a mobile device, where you can do speech to text. So I'm going to do what's called voice typing. And what I do is I'm going to click, and it's going to record what I'm saying. So right now, it should be recording what I'm saying, and where my cursor was, that's where it's typing. based on what I'm saying. I'm not touching the keyboard at all. You can't hear the clicking, but it's actually turning what I say into text.
It's very accurate.
It is very accurate. Now you'll notice that there is little underlines, dotted underlines under some of the words. If I right click on it, it's saying, did you mean? So it's not, so it's telling me that some of the words, it's not sure if it understood what I was saying correctly. So it's saying, did you mean a different word and we just misinterpreted this word? To me, this is a fantastic feature for students and for teachers, especially if you want to make comments on a student's work. It makes it a lot faster if you can speak faster than you can type, as I think a lot of people, that's the case. It's also a fantastic feature for students, especially those if they have a learning disability, or if for ELL students, it might be more comfortable with the written word, and they're just not sure. They don't participate a lot orally because they don't want to make mistakes. And one of the things they can do is they can use this, and they're talking to a computer, and the computer is interpreting what they're saying, and they can read what the computer thinks they're saying. And this allows them, there's no judgment. It's a computer. It's not going to, you know, make fun of them if they mispronounce a word or if they're not quite orally saying what they mean. And they can just practice using this tool. So it's a fantastic feature that not a lot of people know about. One of the other great tools on Google that is not that well known is you can actually use another tool called Research. So the Research tool, all I did is I highlighted Google Hangouts. You don't even need to highlight anything though, and you can click on Research, and it's giving me some web results based on that, and it's going to tell me a little bit about it. I can click on it and it will take me to information about Google Hangouts. I can look at the different ones, and what's great is I can say, oh yeah, this is the one, this one here, this is the one that I want. So I can preview it. Yeah, that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the link, and that allowed it highlighted it and sends you right there, but I can also cite that. So it goes ahead and it puts a little notation there. And so let's get rid of that. There we go. And what's going to happen is down at the bottom of my doc, it has cited the source for me. And I get to choose how I want that source cited, what format. It's not always perfect, but it's a great tool to show your students, because at least they are starting to document their work. It's a very easy and quick way for them to document their work. They can do the proper citation. If it doesn't do it properly, they can fix it up later, but at least something's there, and it's ready for them to use. They can also, and this is really important in terms of digital citizenship, making sure that they are aware of the difference between search results that are not filtered by license and search results that people are saying is free to use, share, or modify even commercially. So this is a good distinction for people, or for students, to see that not everything on the internet is okay for you to take and copy and paste into your work, which we all know that they tend to do. So this is where we're saying these people have said whatever is here is, you're free to use it, please cite it, but you are allowed to use it. This is especially important when you're using images. So these are the images that are free to use, share, and modify. So I can go ahead and I can click on the image and just drag it into my doc, and there we go. And notice that my image is also cited, and it gives me the link where that image came from. Fantastic, quick tool for students to use. So those are some of the tools that are being used, or that you can use in Google. And now we'll get on to more of the fun stuff, which is answering your questions and giving examples. So the first question I'm going to just, whoops, no, don't want to delete it. So the first question we have here is when a student submits work on a Google Doc, how do we correct it and send it back to them? So Susan, do you want to take this one or should I take this?
Sure, I can go ahead. So when a student submits a document, if you're in Google Classroom, I'm just going to put on my screen share. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to go into my Google Classroom. In a Google Classroom, you'll have assignments. Let me find an assignment here quickly. Okay, and in the assignment, you'll go to a student and you'll see their work. And then you can make your comments and highlight things and then send it back to them. Okay, so you return it to them in the classroom. Okay. Another way to do it is get them to email the document to you. So let's say we have a document like this, and they just email the document to you, and you go in there, and you can click here to do suggesting. That's the way I like to do it. So then when you go in here and you type, it shows them what you have made suggestions on, and you can also make comments as well. Okay, so that's one way to do it.
And then, of course, to share that back with students, what you want to do is you want to go up and you want to go to share. And if you're not in Google Classroom, that is, you can type in the student's name and you can share it back with that student.
Well, if they've shared it with you originally, then they can just see it. In Google Classroom, when you return the document to the student, they can edit it again. Or if you don't return it to them, they can just go in and see what you commented and can't change anything.
Yes. So I think that hopefully answers the question there. The next question we have is any specific add-ons that you use? That's a fantastic, oh, I guess I should select that one. So any specific add-ons that you use? There are lots of add-ons. One of the things I didn't talk about, so I talked about some tools. I didn't talk about add-ons. You can go and you can get add-ons. There are all kinds of different add-ons that are available to you. They do different things. One of the ones I was just introduced to, again, relating to citing your work, is EasyBib. And it will help you to cite sources, and same kind of ideas I was showing you with Google Research. You can see that there's different formats that you can use for your bibliography. And then you can also do journal articles and websites, which is very, very helpful. There's also a lot of tools out there that might not be add-ons for Google Docs, but they're integrated with Google Docs. So we have access to a lot of the Gale databases, and you can send it to your Google Drive. Same with students. They can send all their highlights and everything to Google Drive, and it cites it for them. So there's lots of different tools out there. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through all of them. But there are those tools available to use.
Just before we finish, I just wanted to share a couple of things I do in my classroom with the students, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, are you still sharing up there?
Oh, sorry. Let's click on you. There we go.
Okay, so in, can you see my screen now?
No, you have to go to screen share.
Oh, I didn't click share. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here is a finished rubric or a co-constructed criteria for an assignment that my students did. And you can see it says success criteria. What we did though was each group, I'm going to go into our revision history. This is after it was all done. You can see that each group posted their success criteria. This is the stuff that I added, like the content information. But each group went in and they decided together as a group what would be the success criteria for this assignment, and they added them in, and then we compared every group's work and came up with a common success criteria. So this was the way we did this. I'm going to go back to the actual finish thing. The way we did this was I started the document and I went over here to share. And instead of sharing specifically with each student or with as a Google assignment, I went here to can edit and I copied the link and I posted the link in the Google Classroom. Once all the work was done, I went back in and then the students were no longer able to edit and I changed it to can view. Or actually, I went into advanced and I changed it to can view. So that way, nothing, once it was a finalized document, the students couldn't go in and change it. Okay, and another way that I use Google Docs often in my class is I get each individual group, someone in the group starts a document, they share with each individual student, and they share it with me. So as the students are working in the document, you can see the different colors the students were using to work on their part of the project. I was able from my desk to go in and check on the progress of each group. And if I saw that they weren't progressing or I saw something specific I needed to talk to them about, I would go specifically to that group and give them some information. So it's a great way for you to be doing digital work, but you're still keeping track of what the students are doing, and then you can go in and edit it or yourself and add comments, or you can actually go physically to the class, to the group in the class.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now.
Sorry, I think I took over accidentally. So one of the things, we had a question on Twitter. It was a question about how do you add headers and footers, and you could go to insert and you have the ability to add your header, or if you wanted, you can insert a footer as well, and so you can go in that way. And there's also some other tools in here that I didn't talk about. You can do it will automatically do a table of contents for you and things like that. One of the other great classroom examples I wanted to show, I was working with a teacher who wanted to do peer editing. So Susan was talking about changing the share settings. One thing we didn't talk about was this get a shareable link. And so you can click on get a shareable link. Actually, I would encourage you to have your students create a document. So let's say they were working and they did something about Canadian geography. This is actually taken from that Gale database that I was telling you about. And you can click share. The student clicks it, gets a shareable link, and they pick anyone at the Peel District School Board can comment. So they just want to have comments on their doc. They copy the link. And then what you can do as a teacher is you can set up something like this. And so it has a place for the student to put the link. And then the other students, because this is a doc that you would share with the entire class. I didn't talk about sharing with the school class distribution list. Those would be like things like you type in your school code, so S and then the school code and dash, and you'll notice that the course codes are coming up. And you can allow the entire class to edit. I'm not going to do that because I don't even know what class that is. And so once you share it with the entire class, they can all have access to add their link to their doc that they've written up. And you can have the peer reviewers sign up to edit that document. Obviously, they shouldn't be editing their own document. But this link only allows comments to be made. It doesn't allow for the other students to change anything on the actual doc itself. It's a great way to have all of the docs be in one place. And this is one of the kind of workarounds for those working in Google Classroom, and they get work from students, but then they want to do this peer editing. You can have a doc like this posted as an assignment on Google Classroom. And that will be talked about in one of the sessions coming up. I believe the next session will be hosted by Tina Zita, and she will be having that hangout. It's going to be about Google Forms. So I hope that we at least gave you a quick overview of Google and Google Docs, and we answered some of your questions. This will be posted to YouTube for those of you to watch again. Oh, I just got a quick question here. Could this shareable link be applied to artwork perhaps? Yeah, so this works not just with docs. Anything that's in the Google environment and Google Drive, you can get a shareable link. If it's an image, though, I don't know that they'd be able to comment on it. If it's a Google slide, they can comment on it. So they could put their image in a Google slide, or they can put it on the doc, and then you can have comments on that. So you can definitely do it for critiquing art pieces. Sorry, I should have clicked on that I was answering that. Hopefully that answers. Yeah, hopefully that answers all the questions. And if I'm correct in the time, we've gone a little bit over. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and please
feel free to ask any questions on Twitter later. We'll stay on for a while and check over the questions.
Yes. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you stay tuned for Google Forms. And after that will be a session on Google Classroom, which we mentioned a little bit about, and Susan showed you her Google Classroom as well. So thanks very much, and yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.